Welcome back to Improvision Entertainment. My name is Huntermun, and this is more of Euro Truck Simulator 2. Molly is still with me for at least a little while longer. And we are going to try and hit the first half of whatever the lava achievement is called. I've already forgotten. But we're going to try and hit it. It's down in Naples. We have our map set up so that there's a lot of additional question marks that we can grab. Viewpoints, agencies, and so on.
Turn left.
Sorry, that car was trying to cut things a little closer than I wanted. What an important way to start the video. Okay, so up on the YouTube channel, there is, and that's Improvision Entertainment on YouTube. Wait, why am I telling you YouTube? You're already there. In any event, you will find playlists for all manner of games and series of games. But one thing you will be very short on is turn-based strategy games, or turn-based RPGs. There's a couple of XCOM playlists. There's a completed playlist of me playing through XCOM Chimera Squad the first time. There is a completed playlist of me with Daniel, while he plays the game, playing through XCOM Chimera Squad the first time for him. And then there are 3 other begun runs by me, all incomplete, one of which was expert mode playing with Captain Soja, and then one of those, I don't know how I got 1 damage. I didn't get snagged on anything. And then one of those, I began because he had to step away to get groceries at one point. He was supposed to be gone for like 40 minutes. He ended up being gone for 3 hours. I kept stream going, and while stream was going, I started an impossible run as kind of a joke time filler. And then I ended up doing really well in it. But that's not completed either. And then finally, there's the Completion Anxiety Run. The Completion Anxiety Run was a place for me to play the game really fast on easy difficulty, just trying to pick up all the achievements I wouldn't get otherwise. Now, importantly, there are 2 achievements that I have to play the other runs to get. One of those achievements is called the Impossible Dream, for which the Impossible Run is named for. That's why it's called Impossible Dream on this. It's also called the Impossible Dream because it's seemingly impossible for me to finish it after like 2 years after starting it. But anyway, Impossible Dream is beat the game on impossible difficulty, which obviously if I'm playing on the easiest difficulty I can't do. But more importantly, there's another achievement that requires you to beat the 3 factions of the game as they sit in the 3 tiers of difficulty standing. Meaning that you have to pick each of the groups as your first, second, and third option, and this is an achievement. Meaning that in order to beat the game, you have to beat the game a minimum of 3 times. But that's okay, because I was paying attention to the achievements, and so my run on regular difficulty, expert difficulty, and impossible difficulty are all picking those different groups at different
And then exit right.
at different ones of those locations in their
Exit right.
existence. So the Completion Anxiety Run will be completed more or less when hold on, just need to slow down through this curve. Will be completed more or less when I've done everything but those 2 achievements.
Keep left.
But I'll probably still finish it for the sake of consistently, and you know, I like XCOM, so playing more of the game. And besides XCOM, there's pretty much just the first time I ever played through Shining Force for Sega Genesis, which I'd never done before. But I keep sprinkling tactical turn-based games onto the polls in the hopes that 1, somebody will vote for Disgaea, which they don't. I think me and Captain Soja are the only people who've ever voted for me to play Disgaea. But I keep putting it up there. Because you see, it's a big time investment. Otherwise, I'd just play it myself like I play a lot of other games. Like, I don't use the polls as the end-all be-all for what I'm playing on stream. I use it as a determining factor for what I kind of like prioritize playing next, because people want to see stuff get played on stream. But if nobody wants to play Disgaea, look, a minimum good playthrough of Disgaea, not really faffing about, just trying to level and play through the story, will take you over 100 hours. Let's just be kind and say over 100 hours. And if nobody wants to see that, then I'm just playing a game I don't even know if people will watch on stream, because I haven't even tried. I don't know if people will watch it on stream, so that's a danger. And then on top of that, it's a game I really want to play and I really want to love, and if nobody likes it, that's a problem. And if nobody's voting for me to play it at all, then I don't have a reason to make myself play. Like, I like Disgaea a lot. And also, the first game is the least technically savvy of all the games. So it may end up not being as lovable as I remember it being, because I have played the games in the series beyond it. But I really want to play it. But then that's on the current poll. Hey YouTube, if you're watching, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/HunterMon. But besides that, in the bottom right corner of the Improvision Entertainment banner, I've said this in the past, but I try not to say it every episode, but there is a little link there, a couple of links. One of them should be whatever the then current poll is, provided I'm still doing this sometime in the future with a capital F. You can check out the link for the then current poll, or check twitch.tv/HunterMon/about. Like all the lovely people who are watching live, or they can use !vote in the chat. But in any event, on the current poll is the most games. I'm trying to almost bet my percentages. On the current poll is the most tactical turn-based games I have included in a single poll. And if they are consistently the bottom of the list, one, I will get the message. And it's a terrible message. And two, I will know I'm just going to have to set aside time to play those games for me. And I'll probably do it on stream, but like I'll have to understand low viewer counts and people not watching it later on YouTube. I'll just have to accept that. And maybe that'll be fine. But we have the second Shining Force game, not to be confused with Shining Force 2, which is like the third Shining Force or fourth Shining Force game. Shining Force Gaiden, which originally came out for Game Gear, but I would be playing the Sega CD port of the game. That's on the list. I think Suikoden is either tactical or regular JRPG. I'm trying to remember all my tactical. I really want to play Triangle Strategy. I played the demo of it earlier this year, which the save file will continue into the main game. However, all of my video footage of the game got lost, so I would have to replay that first sitting, which is unfortunate, but I wouldn't want you to miss out on what my story is if the story is indeed vastly different, the different people who play Triangle Strategy, which is my main reason for wanting to play it, is that it seems like something I've wanted for a long time, a tactical strategy game that also takes into account how you pick the story options so that you get slightly different maps or greatly different plot progression. I don't know. Sounds like a really good time. Want to play through it. I have ideas for doing a tactical turn-based game as a game, and yeah. Actually, I had this idea for like a hybrid concept where you, as the main character playing through the story, would play like a JRPG, but then as you gain in power and go up through the story and you become like a leader of a small area, you'd be able to have troops and stuff that would actually, when they have game segments, if you want, you don't have to portray them, but you can. And if you do portray them, then Oh, this lane ends. I was wondering why everybody's slowing down. And if you do portray them, then that part of the game plays like tactical turn-based. So it's almost, you could think of it like tactical turn-based mini-game inside of the game. It's part of my Scales of Justice concept that I have, that I've mentioned previously in earlier Euro Truck simulators. Rambling on for a few minutes without talking to chat. Molly, if you're still awake, what do you think of any of that? Oh, man. Oh, I am traveling Italy right now. This is going to be a little bit of a longer recording, but I think I got it. Speeding Violet. I'm sorry. Are you bored? Wait, that's a black and red police car. Rude. How rude. Why is this a one-lane highway? Oh, by the way, guys, the going headcanon, because I picked up this tractor from the tractor place that we dropped it off on, just like I picked up the previous tractor from the tractor place we dropped it off on. The going headcanon is that this is the same tractor that I've been traveling from, like, way up in the rest of Europe down now through Italy. I mean, it's not like it's even a different color. If you had... Molly says, I think you can make a really nice in-depth RPG. If you had a stat like one Gauntlet Legends, it would be awesome. Had a stat like one... What do you mean a stat? We've had the... Austria, that's right. We've had this tractor since Austria. I have a terrible memory. Oh, wait, what? Wait, where did I get all this money from? Did somebody come in with a big payout and I missed it? You know how you roll character sheets. Oh, you're saying like a Gauntlet game with character progression? That's kind of what... You know what? I could see that. In my head, I'm always thinking of Gauntlet as being a multiplayer game, but... And while I would like that... Okay. Real talk for a second, I think I'm missing out. It's like digital D&D. Okay, Molly, let me ask you. Have you ever played The Old Republic? Not Knights of the Old Republic. The Old Republic. Because I played it when it launched, and it's always held a special place in my heart as far as like a game I thought I could like. I'm just not super into Star Wars. Because depending on who's in your party, you basically can roll off on who gets the dialogue options to be able to progress the story. And I thought that was really interesting, and a good way of doing it in an MMO where like your party is limited to like 4 people. And I've never seen anybody try that again, and I don't know if they maintain that. I don't know if that goes on. Like, the Old Republic has gotten many updates, and I remember it being one of those games that I ended up not playing because, like, not playing for a long period of time, even after it went free to play, because it didn't have a Mac version. I don't know if it has a Mac version now, and I don't know if it holds up. Molly says, I think the Clone Wars was the only Star Wars game I actually sat down and played religiously. Star Wars Clone Wars. Like Pod Racer? Or Lego? I'm sorry, I'm making all this money. You can answer that question while I'm getting myself new drivers, apparently. Truck manager. The Xbox one from 2002? I don't know if I know which one you're talking about, Molly. I don't know that game off the top of my head. Alright, who do we have in the recruitment agency? who can make me even more money and also level up. I like your accents. Also your long distance travel, which is pretty good. Alright, back on the road. While other people are making me money. I just want that bottom cyan bar to just be scrolling non-stop. Whoa, that looks like a heavy wreck. Was a great game. What type of game was it? Was it like a Gauntlet? Is that what made you think of it? Is it a hack and slash? Alright, we're going to be going through Southwick's connection to Rome. Rome is going to be complicated because all roads lead to Rome. But there's an achievement specifically that has you enter the corridors to Rome from every possible direction. So I need to notate in my notes after this that we've done it southwest, I'll call it. Oh, I actually wanted to go straight? I think I actually wanted to go straight. It was just a normal Star Wars game. It had persuasion and choices mattered and good versus evil meter that was common during that time. I do not know what you're talking about. It kind of comes back to me not being like... The problem is that a good chunk of Star Wars games are not good. I think as a game player, I think a little more than half of all Star Wars games, if not more than that, are not particularly good. And it can be easy to miss some of the good ones as a result. I wonder how much of the Old Republic you can play as a single-player experience, actually, now that I've been talking about it. Because I would... Many roads lead to Rome. 2 of 4. I won't say it aged well, but for its time it was great and well rated. We're making the euros. We're making the monies. I think I've talked about it before, Molly, but I think I've just talked about it to YouTube. I don't think I've talked about it to you specifically. I have had this JRPG concept in my head, originally inspired by not Breath of the Wild. That would be not what I'm meaning to say at all. Originally inspired by Breath of Fire, in which you're basically playing as, you know, your general hunted down dragonborn character, and not like a dragonborn in Skyrim, but an actual dragon, a whelp born. And the start of the game is like you learning the controls as you control your dragon form, and like it's kind of set up like a little bit horror, like you're in darkness and you have to like stealth out and get away. Like I want it to be like, okay, so it's a stealth action JRPG in which you play as a dragon. Rome discovered. Imperator 10 of 26. Hold on. There's a question mark not marked on the map, I just realized. No, I'll hit it on the way back. Okay. And, so the beginning of the game is teaching you the movement and the stealth mechanics while you're trying to avoid the guards who are in your family cave, smashing the eggs and killing the big dragons and trying to wipe dragons out. And like that's your starting point. Okay? and I wanted to do some stuff that hadn't been done in other fantasy games I had seen, like try and like make the world like a more lived-in place.
Turn left.
So once you've gone through the escape sequence, in which you're kind of displayed as like a monochromatic black and white like dragon, like because you're in darkness, right? Some little Splinter Cell, right, where your character. Okay, Ivanko dealership. Cool. I finally found another one of these.
And then turn right.
And you're trying to, and after you've escaped, one of the final escape sequences you play out has you jump into like a stream that's flowing through the cave, and its rushing water pours out, and you just start having this like experience where you're getting rushed down river, and the end result is that you wake up near a kind of like pool area that would be like at the edge of a lake, but you're at basically like a fantasy variety amusement park, a water park. And from that standpoint, you actually look around and you can see all the people who are hanging out. Discovered a recruitment agency, cool. And from that, you kind of like, you pick your starting family, and the way you pick your starting family is your character understands innate magic, so they cast a spell on themselves to make them look like they belong in that family, and they wander over and basically end up getting adopted. It's like, that's the start. That's your character creator. Your character creator is kind of like, you pick an appearance
At the ramp.
and like
Take the
of kind of like your the starting family, and that ends up being the appearance of your character. I've missed your... Hold on. I don't think my text was scrolling. Molly says, I've always said I wanted a game where you play both sides of the war in depth, and then at the end you're playing narrator and get to make the moral choice who is right or wrong. Neat. But a magical fantasy war like elves versus dwarves, elves versus dragons?
get ready.
Okay.
Turn right.
Well, my idea can be modified into... instead of humans, a fantasy race. I do very much hate playing humans in fantasy settings. Humans get too much limelight. What is with humans? Why are they so special? They get so much stuff. Like, who cares? Humans, bah, boring. But I guess who would the dragons be warring against? They could be warring against elves. Knife ears, if you will. What do you think of my setting, Molly? Too much? I am aiming for like a T or M rated game. I don't want to go too crazy with it, but I do want there to be the opportunity to not shy away from blood. And you know, it does kind of start with a horror situation where you're basically being exterminated as a magical creature.
Keep right.
If you had to pick a fantasy race, who would you say would go after dragons like that? I mean, it could be anybody. I'm making the setting. I could make up a new race and have it be them. I kind of wanted to focus on the dragon character, but... yeah, I kind of wanted to focus on the dragon character. But you'd be right that it would be interesting to see more of the other sides of the war. One of my ideas... Hold on. You've said... No, it's a nice start. I feel a big emotional starts give you more attachment to the character early. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, spoilers for the beginning of Breath of Fire 3. Actually, before I say that, Molly, have you seen the beginning of Breath of Fire 3? Because it might win the poll, so I might be playing it next month. And if you haven't, then I don't want to ruin it for you if you want to join in. Negative $619. Curses.
Keep right. And then exit right.
Haven't seen any Breath of Fire in over 15 years? Wait. Did you... Oh, do you not care for them? Because, I mean, I did play through the first one and the whole playlist is up on YouTube if you haven't seen Breath of Fire 1. Do, 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 do. I just don't continue to play after 4. Oh, well, I mean, it's okay. There's only 2 more games past 4. And one of them everyone hates. And one of them just some people hate and think is better when you go back to it. If I play Breath of Fire 5, and that is the intention, but I am playing them in order, so it'll be a little while. I have seen that game running in PlayStation 2 emulation, in basically 1080p 60 FPS, and it at least at that point looks really good. All right, come on, truck, you can do this. You said you haven't played any Breath of Fire in a while, but have you played? Do you know the start of 3? Before I start talking about, it's long enough ago that I'm not worried about the spoilers for the internet. We have a 3-year rule in Improvision Entertainment, not ruining things that have happened more or less than 3 years ago on stream. 58,000 euros by Eorzabeth. 58,000 euros. I'm sorry, I'm getting a new truck. 1 second. 58,000 euros? Excuse me. Big money, big money, big money. And there's an Ivanko dealership we just found. I think she's in one of my earlier trucks, though, so she's in a good truck. I wonder if you can literally hire everybody in the game because we run out of names. Hire a driver. Grizegors? Is part of that silent? I want to pick you just because of your name. Grizegors. I don't know how to say that. I have no clue. I feel like we're in the snowball. I feel like the snowball is happening. Alright, Molly's be back in a second. She's taking the trash out. Man. Okay. Let's check our delivery time so that things don't go weird. We have 20 hours remaining to make an 8-hour trip. But that 8-hour trip is 8 more hours than that, so 16. So we do need to be looking for a place to stop. There's a place to stop up ahead. How much time do we have left on being tired? We can go further than that. Okay, that's probably a dealership. We got plenty of places. We don't have to hit the next one. Craziness. So yeah, that was kind of my original starting concept while I wait on Molly to get back. And then the next part is getting you invested in the family. So in this fantasy setting, it's not uncommon to come across orphans who have been displaced by war. And so their process of adopting you in these fantasy settings is more or less nobody claims you as their child, so they want to take care of you. They have other kids. They will take care of you as their child. You'll grow up with a family, and it's not weird to them that you already look to them. Like it could happen, right? You're in the area. Nobody finds you at, like, they obviously search for your family at the amusement park situation, but nobody comes up, and it's almost like it was meant to be. I don't know what was wrong. I don't have weird loop in my hair there for a second. Alright, let's double check this. 4 hours? Yeah, we got plenty of time. Plenty of time. Let's see. 8 hours from now will be 20. Yeah, we want to make it closer to being able to arrive in the daylight. And yeah. I don't know. I don't know if RPG Maker lets you move around with the fluidity I would like. I'm cool with a top-down 2D RPG, but I want it to be. I probably want it to have more of the appearance of like a Metal Gear.
Keep
I want
right,
there to be some
and then
depth,
exit right.
or maybe like a Zelda, like a 2D Zelda.
Exit right.
That car tried to hit me. You all saw it. You're going slower than the speed limit, little car. Wow, look at this. Look at that mountain range. I think a lot of that is just a texture, but a lot of that is three-dimensional. It's very neat. Okay, so I want to hit the telepass if I can hit it. Someone in my Steam list is now playing Tom Clancy's The Siege.
Exit now. Turn right.
Nobody coming that way. So we are yielding. We're going to pick up question marks. Oh no, we're going to pick up Cassino, which is a city in Italy I've not driven through before. Probably would have gotten it eventually, but like, might as well be hitting it for cleanup. We can go to other locations. Unfortunately, I think I smell something burning. But my nose is often wrong, and there's a lot of talking fire alarms in this house. And they're connected to each other through like Wi-Fi. So to actually start alarming downstairs and being like, Imperator 11 of 26, and it'll be like, there is smoke in the kitchen. There is smoke in the kitchen. Do 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 do. Alright, how much time I got left? That was only an additional hour? We're good. $3.6K from driver Martin.
At the roundabout, take the first exit. Exit now. Go straight on.
Do 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 do.
At the roundabout, take the first exit. Exit now.
Okay, so I want the little check thing or the pass. A sale couldn't find a job and had to return empty. Negative 583 euros. Focus on the road. 5,000 from Frederick. Oh my god, dude. Okay, I think I'll need to be taking a right up ahead, so make sure nobody's over. I wanted to go past this car, but it is a line. Past this truck, but it is a line of truck. Driver Ahmed made 745 euros. Good for him. He's just starting out, and he leveled up. Even better for him. Nice. Driver Pierre couldn't find a job and had to return empty.
Keep right, and then exit right.
233 euros.
Exit right.
Do. Okay, you've slowed down, so I'm gonna get over. LC has gotten $260. What was I saying? I've talked about the JRPG idea I had before, but you know. So the kind of idea would be like, part of your starting selection wouldn't be just picking the family, but you kind of get to pick your origin of sorts. So your origin should be a combination of your basically your mother and father's job or your social interactions with them. You basically learn trade from either of them as you grow up, is the understanding. So you basically get to pick two starting trade. Now, initially my thought was that this would just be like a story thing that would kind of affect what character is, you know, eventually after you reach teenage years and the story really kicks in, really like called to the castle or something like that. But welcome back, Molly.
And then exit right.
So what I was kind of saying, Molly, is like, first of all, I was wondering what you thought about my idea, but also
Right.
I was going on the idea being like you might pick your mother and father's starting labor. You might pick like what their jobs are, with the understanding that whatever their jobs are, you would lean towards one or the other, but you'd probably pick up some traits from both during the initial more story-driven segments of like your character growing up and going and getting schooled, or learning the trade and working in like, you know, working in like a forge or something like that. Oh, we've got some yawns going on. Damn it. I tried to slow down very little for that. The trash people didn't take the trash last week, and the can was disgusting, so I had to prepare myself not to vomit. I understand that. Those are some weirdly low-res trees on the horizon.
Second exit.
I think we're doing this right here so that we can pick up a question mark. But I should stop at the next rest/gas area. Yes, we're doing this to pick up a question mark. Okay, we are on time. I'm sorry I had to go through that though, Molly. I know what that's like. Volvo truck dealership. If you've ever, hold on. Well, he says, I mean, poor people tend to get the most labor-intensive jobs, so it would make sense if the urchin and lower-class people were forced into labor. Right. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, you can, basically, the idea being that instead of just picking your character's generic background, you would play it out a little bit, like, you know, the beginning of Fallout 3, like where you play through your early years. But basically, you'd be picking what your family is doing, and you could pick like a wealthy family, and they have an easy to do, and like you've learned like the charisma from dealing with high class families, yada yada. Like, you can pick whatever makes sense for your character to have in the start, but that choice will not just affect your character, but affect like what your story is for your character and your family, like the interactions they have with other NPCs, where your family might later in the story show up as NPCs with other characters. You'd write and play your own. Yeah. I mean, it's not so much a super roleplay type thing, where you get to like get down to the nitty gritty, but you kind of pick like, if you will, the thoughtful archetypes, and having those archetypes influence those selections. So I was thinking like around the time of you becoming a teenager, or what looks like a teenager to humans,
Get ready to
what looks like a teenager to humans, the king of whatever nation you're in, which, you know, has been slaying dragons, that you've been hiding your whole life, up to this point, they want to have like a big banquet, or someone's getting betrothed or something like that. Something big is going on, and my idea was that your reason for being at this big event was going to be that if you're an upper class, well, you probably got invited, and if you're a lower class, your family has been called in because maybe they're the best at what they do, and they've been called in to like, you know, hem the dresses or make the newest, best gear for the soldiers, or whatever the case might be. And of course, you know, things go wrong. IKEA? I mean, I don't think we can legally call it IKEA. IKEA. I think it's Aka. I think it's Aka.
take the second exit. Exit now.
Maybe Ika? Maybe Ika. It's not quite IKEA, it's kind of Ika. And so, kind of what you were talking about, playing both sides of the war, I don't know if that's applicable, but I think as the story goes on, I keep going back and forth between focusing on one character or having you eventually pick up a party of characters. And I was thinking maybe saving the party of characters for like the sequel. I think about,
Get ready to turn right.
I mean, like Dragon Age style, like, because that's a lot of work for someone who is me, to do on the first game.
Turn right.
Hold on, where is the resting spot? I thought I had plenty of time. It's on the way back. That's probably a viewpoint at the ferry. Yeah, get out of my way. You've pinned me down. Know your place. Actually, I don't know if the cops are the same in every country as they are in America. Hopefully not. Oh, man. Woo.
Turn left.
Hey, you gonna write me up for running this stop sign? He did have the right of way, Molly, but
Get ready to turn right.
like I was kind of mad at myself because I was going slow enough, but then I bumped him. But I was like, well, it just makes sense. I was expecting to get like a super. Oh, geez, what is this?
Get
I was expecting to get like a super fine for bumping into a cop car, if I'm being totally honest.
Turn left.
This is not a thing I should be doing right now. This is what happens when you pick roads when you've not been on them before. Wait, how far am I going up this? I'm going to the dock and then turning around. Yeah, this was an unnecessary route, but, you know. I glanced at my timer and I thought it said an hour and 45 minutes. I was like, that can't be right. That can't be right. Okay, so we're going to go to the dock. I assume at the dock that there's going to be a viewpoint. So we're going to get a view of the dock. He did have the right of way, Molly.
At the roundabout,
I'm not...
take the first
that was one of those like joke blame situations where I was like,
exit
dude,
now.
you've pinned me. Because bumping into his vehicle actually made it so I could not move my trailer. Going to stay for our tractor journey, but after this might go to sleep.
Go straight to
Well, if you think you might go to... Hold on. If you think you might go to sleep, Molly, then I'm probably going to call it as well. Because, I don't know, I might do more of this later today. My throat doesn't feel as bad as it has, but it still probably needs a little bit more time off. And this is all bonus stuff. And you know, I like doing this when I'm hanging out with other people. And being a small-time streamer means that... I found a new viewpoint. Got it.
get ready.
Means that that's not always feasible. Even though it's a game that gets me a lot of views and a lot of viewership, it really does.
And then turn
I have to
left.
zoom in. Okay.
Okay, let's find a new route.
What do you mean? You're finding the same route? Okay, I'm gonna see if I can see this viewpoint on the way back.
At the roundabout, take the third exit.
What's gonna be great is if I drop off this tractor and then like I just glance at the jobs and the next available job is more tractor.
Keep left, and then turn left. Turn left.
Oh, it says cops are very polite,
Turn left.
and not corrupt in most parts of Italy. Whoops. Well, that's actual damage. I was, you know, that's what happens when you're looking at your phone when you're trying to drive. For the most part in Italy, there's always rotten eggs, but in a bunch, I never felt like it was in danger in Italy. Right. I'm white, and I still feel like I'm in danger of cops in America. Port of Naples. Like, because on at least 2 occasions, I have felt like... That's not the port, guys. That's the city. This tractor for its whole life, and I need to see this through. I get you. For at least 2 of the occasions in which I've had interaction with cops, the cop was clearly like showing favoritism one way or the other, and that's sucky to say, but I mean that I would rack up to corruption. This one young cop, when I had my... What the hell? Oh, there's a railing right there I can't see. For some reason. Maybe I'm nearing the... Because, you know, it is a little after 4 in the morning here, so I am near the end of my... What is happening? Hey, why don't you stop trying to turn this direction, huh? Okay, we got it. In any event, what was I saying? Oh, the roundabout situation where I rear-ended the one lady, because she stopped in the intersection while I was looking to make sure it was clear to pull out, and that was later deemed to be her fault. The actual cop who was trying to give me a ticket for that, and I was like, I don't know roundabouts very well, but I'm pretty sure you're wrong about this. He was absolutely hitting on her. Like, I don't have a lot of opportunities besides, like, looking at movie examples of saying somebody is hitting on somebody else. But, like, he was hitting on her, and he was buttering her up like she was, like, look what this person did. They hit you from behind. Are you okay? This, that, and the other. Like, she was fine. Like, she got rattled because it was, you know, it was a fender bender. It wasn't a big hit. And he was hitting on her. And I was like, well, this doesn't seem fair. You know, my young state of, like, whatever, 20, 21 or something. I was like, that doesn't seem right. And that was just an early, simple experience I had where I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm... Okay, hold on, quick. Let's get to sleep before something happens. Like, I get tagged for not being to sleep. Okay. We're asleep. Everything is fine. Except for the part where it's past midnight. It's less fine now. What's that? I have enough money to get another truck and driver. Really? That's crazy. You don't say. And Eva has leveled up. Okay. Truck management. Truck dealer. Buy online. We're gonna fill up Genova. Because every moment that passes is another moment in which more drivers can be getting me more money. You've got long distance, but you've got long distance and timely. Alright, Gene. We've only got $7,000, so we can't get any more fines right now. Alright, now we should be on time to our destination. We have 7 hours to make a 4-hour remainder of trip. Please do not keep driving forward. I am pulling out. Oh no, a paragraph. The only 2 times I've actually felt in danger by cops in the U.S. were both giving me attitude and pulled me over when I didn't deserve it. Molly says. Like, I got pulled over for going like 85, 90 miles per hour. Where wait, hold on. I'm driving at night, so it's even more dangerous. You're going 85, 90 miles an hour. When I go everywhere with my cruise control on, and when I mentioned that, they got verbally pretty violent, and one of them threatened to remove me from the vehicle. I mentioned my dash cam recorded my speed. Well, there you go. Yeah, dash cams is not just a way to track other people getting into wrecks or you getting into wrecks, but it's also a way of record keeping just in general. I had a friend who had one of those situations where a cop pulled him over and they just, how to say, the one guy basically leaned into his vehicle and said, "What's that smell?" And he was like, "I don't know." Like, you know, he has some trash in his car. And he's like, I don't know. What do you smell?" It's like, "Smells kind of damp. It smells like something." And like, he kind of pulls over his like partner, and he's basically trying to be like, "You smell weed? You smell weed, right?" And the partner, who I guess wasn't in on it, was like, "No, man, I don't. What are you talking about? Like, I don't smell anything." Like, he was pulled over. Like, he had plenty of time to get to work. He was pulled over there for 35, 40 minutes while they consulted people and tried to see if there was anything they could get him to confess to. Like, they were literally trying to get him to confess to anything he might have done, but especially if he had, like, drugs. Which he didn't, because he doesn't do drugs. It was a long time in my life before I knew anybody who did like weed or something like that. And he was certainly not one of those people. And they were just, you know, they're just fishing for trouble, as it were. But I mean, it doesn't top the you felt in danger. Like, if you're like, that's one of the things that gets me. If cops were like always kind of going after people they thought were breaking the law, then that would be we'd have different stories, right? But that's not the case. We all have stories in which a cop pulls you over and they're looking to get you for something, or they're trying to like bump up their get their quota for the month of speeding tickets or something. Like, to way back earlier in the stream, I mentioned the career center because I was talking about people who get pulled over in bulk. Okay, you say cops are also unfortunately given a quota. Yeah, quota. There you go. That they're supposed to fulfill to get their or they get reprimanded. I didn't know that part. I thought they just did it because they had fun. It's not a fair circumstance to put on people who are supposed to look for protection. Right. So, one of the things they would do is, because teenagers are teenagers and they're driving too fast. Wow, this is a 3-lane tunnel. They would be driving back from the career center, but they'd be allowed to go home because it was the end of the school day. They didn't have to go all the way back to school. You could leave from the career center and go home, but most of them had to go back the same way because the career center was kind of like out of the way. And so what they would do is they would have one cop off the side of the road where they couldn't be seen. And you know, if you're hiding as a cop, that's technically like entrapment. You're not supposed to hide as a cop. You're supposed to be visible on the side of the road, ping somebody, pull out, go after them. But what they would do is one cop will be waiting for like a group of teenagers to go by too fast, and they would call ahead to another cop who was visible technically, and they would have them like get ready to pull out and slow them down. And at one point on the way home from career center, like, this happened a lot, but at one point, I shit you not, 2 cop cars front and back of the line pulled over 7 cars all at once. And like, I kind of get that, and I remember kind of laughing at it. It's a little underhanded, but like, they're technically doing what they're supposed to. But when you just pull over a person, like, I got pulled over taking 2-Ply Shy and Cody the Kingslayer home one night because my car was nice and I didn't look like I lived there. And I was bringing them home. And I'm like, okay, you're stretching it, but like, sure, I guess that's a reason to pull me over. But I don't know. The thing about other people I know have had, like, you know, I have, let's say, a black friend, and that black friend gets pulled over once a month easy for lots of nothing. And I thought they were exaggerating, but they had other friends with them who were all like, oh yeah, I was with him last month. Oh yeah, I was with him 2 months ago. Oh yeah, I was with him 3 months ago. Oh yeah, I was with him twice last month. Like, it's crazy. Kids are driving recklessly, and I'm mad at them getting pulled over. Right. I guess it was not the example I was looking for, but you're right, Molly. Like, I'm with you there. But there's, I guess I'll just say, where does the line stop between being ingenious in meeting your quota and being kind of slimy? Like, where's the distance between that and pulling over my friend and then stopping him, like making him late to work to act like you wanted to get him for having drugs? Like, where exactly is the threshold exactly? Because there are laws, and some of them are good, and some of them should be enforced, and hold on, I got a curve. or they're being put in danger for it, then that's crossing the line. Right. I mean, I had a friend who just ran a stop sign because he could see in both directions and he could see that nobody was coming, and a cop came out and pulled him over and gave him a ticket for that. That seems like normal behavior. Like, I'm fine with that. That makes sense to me. But when you start, like, kind of being like, I don't think you belong in this neighborhood is kind of sus. Like, sure, you could watch a car, but why are you going to pull me over because I don't look like I belong in the neighborhood? Like, I mean, you're technically not doing anything wrong, but we're not even getting into, like, what is it called when cops can steal from you? Cops can steal from you legally in the United States. If they think that stuff that you have, if they think that you have committed a crime and that any part of your property, your house, your vehicle, your money in your wallet is something that you earned by doing crime that you are suspected in doing, they can take it from you. Legal asset forfeiture, I believe is what it's called. And they can just take your stuff from you, and they don't have to give it back. Molly says that could happen if there was a recent crime in the area they're searching for someone and fits your car description. Right, but that's not what he said. What he said was that he didn't think I lived around there, which was true. I didn't. I was dropping other people off. But, okay. So we used to LARP in a place, up in Greenville. And there came a point where, because we're doing this on, like, Saturday nights, there came a point where this, like, white Ford Bronco or something, like this little white Jeep, and some other vehicle would pull up, like, every other Saturday night, and they just park in the far end of the parking lot, and they'd interact, and maybe one of those guys would ask us what we were doing or something like that, I seem to remember. And they were just doing whatever they were doing, and at one point, we all kind of were like, maybe they're two friends hanging out, maybe they're having, like, maybe they're dealing drugs or something like that. We actually thought maybe they were dealing drugs. Oh wait, Molly says, right, which could mean that he's having to profile to figure out if he's trying to someone's trying to break in a house. You're not necessarily guilty, but you're also got to ask to be sure. I mean, yeah, but you could just, it's not like I've never been trailed by a cop before. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do have a super brief story about the one time I actually felt threatened by what turned out to be a cop. So, spoilers for the end of this story. I was driving through Seneca, South Carolina, and this car, unmarked, was following me. Now, I have this kind of paranoid thing where if I'm driving... I think that's a cop car. Nope, okay. If I'm driving at night, and I'm alone, and there's another car on the road, and that car is following me closely, and taking all the same turns that I'm taking, I will not go home. And this has happened on a few occasions, but on this night, I was really close to home. So, I turned and I went to, like, a parking lot. And I went through a grocery store like I was gonna stop and maybe get out and get something. And then decide, oh, wait, actually, I've got it at home. I just remembered. I don't need to pick it up. And I drove through that parking lot and I went back out onto the road. And I started going back the way away from my home that I lived in at the time. And started traveling away. And at one point, I took off, like I said, they're unmarked, so they're just a car that's following me. So I managed to make it through a stoplight without them behind me. Like, they got left stuck at the stoplight. And I speed up a little bit, and I take a right turn into the back of a closed down, I think it was a Wendy's, and I got in there, and I went around to the back of the store, and I turned off my lights,
Turn left.
and I turned off my engine, and I'm sitting there going, okay, well, no, actually, I don't think I turned off my engine. I turned off my lights, and I'm sitting there waiting to watch the car go by, because I'm sure I think I looked back in my rearview mirror, and it was pulling through, like it was going to go through the intersection. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I don't see it. And then behind me, headlights turn on. And I was like, motherfucker, holy shit, I am out of here. I'm fucking out of here right now. And I turn on my lights, and I put the car in gear, and I gun it, and I start leaving towards the back end of the like start going around from the back to the front, and then the cop turns his lights on.
Turn left.
And at this point, I'm kind of scared out of my mind, and I realize, like, what the fuck, it's a cop? A cop is, like, fucking with me? What the hell is this shit? And I kind of, like, skid to a stop, and he comes up to the vehicle, he's like, what are you doing out tonight? I'm like, I'm trying to go home, but some creep is following me really slowly down the road, scaring the pants off of me. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really? Was that you? He was like, yeah. And best I could figure, maybe he thought it was a car that was related to some sort of crime, or he was just doing it for the heck of, like, randomness. But basically, I think he was checking my plate, if I had to guess. But then if he checked my plate, why the fuck did he keep chasing me?
Arrived at your destination.
Like, why did he follow me to where I was going when I was trying to get I don't know. And I didn't know that was a cop, but that was, like, the most scared I've been dealing with a cop without initially knowing it was a cop. So that's a story. There, I told a story. I don't know why I turned my truck off a second ago, but... That is one of the most scared I've been at night. I hit that rock, because I'm near the end of my run. Could have received a car matching your description that had been reported stolen, or was fishing to see if you'd run or something like that. Well, wouldn't it have been more appropriate to fish me as a cop? Like, he was in an unmarked car. The only reason I even ended up knowing it, like, if he had come up to my vehicle and been like, and surprised me, like, that would have been even worse. But the only reason I even knew he ended up being a cop was that he turned on his red and blue lights. He couldn't have been like, I think you're guilty because you're running from a cop, because I didn't know he was a cop. I don't know. It's freaky situation. Is that a curb I can go over? No, it's like a little... Oh, I can kind of go over it. Not sure cops can be really cops can be really sketchy. This is true. I've seen cops who didn't realize that... Like, you're talking about the dash cam. I've seen somebody with a phone cam, more than one occasion, catch on camera that a cop, like, you know, planted evidence on them, like, in their vehicle. Because I tell you what, if some cop searched my vehicle and I didn't know a friend had left something in my car or something like that, and they were like, "What's this I found in your vehicle?" I would have been like my default reaction at this point would have been would always be, I don't know, did you just put it there? Like, that's gonna be my default thought. I'm not going to think that it was some friend of mine. I'm going to think it's the cop trying to plant stuff on me. This is not going to count. It's very clearly not going to count. I'm very concerned that I think I smell something burning. But like I said, it would have to be in this room, though, because otherwise we have plenty of smoke detectors and stuff. Alright. Made a lot of XP. Did it in time. High value cargo bonus. Imperator 12 of 26. Why did that only just now tick over? So weird. Alright, for anybody who is watching sometime later on YouTube, we would like to thank you for watching. This has been Euro Truck Simulator 2, presented by Improvision Entertainment. With special thanks to Molly for hanging out with me tonight. I think she's about to go to bed, and probably so am I. Oh, Molly has a final thing. Molly says, oh, I got pulled over at night once for, quote, being on my phone, end quote, and they claimed to see the brightness of my phone screen under my window, and yeah, my phone did light up, but it was my GPS lighting up to speak, so I don't miss my turn. I have one of those phone holders you stick to your air thingy, so it can have free hands. Yeah. I try not to worry about the GPS thing because my GPS is always like somewhere up front and whatever. Like I'm not going to be without the GPS even when because I'm using Waze. I'm not while I'm driving, obviously. But even though, wait, I'm on the bigger screen. You can see me make that facial animation. In any event, yeah, this was a whole ending for a video on YouTube. Euro Truck Simulator 2. I've been Huntermun, did the whole thing. Molly's here in the chat, and I think we're probably both done for the night. I've been streaming for about 6 hours, and I should probably stop. I want to eat more mashed potatoes. Okay. I will see you in the future.